All right. Good evening, everyone. It is Wednesday. We are on the doorstep of conference championship week in college football. Hard to believe that it seems like just a few short weeks ago we were kicking off week 0. And here we are, regular season wrapped up, and we're staring down the final ranking of the CFP conference championship weekend and the Army-Navy game. That's always important. To me, my dad was in active duty and reserves 42 years in the Navy. So that's always a special thing for me. But the talk of the hour will be conference championship week. But before we get into that, I want to address something real quick. I have had nothing but Peabody folks in my mentions since Saturday, and rightfully so. They came into Neyland and handled their business in a pretty convincing fashion. So I get it. I would want to beat my chest as well if I had about a 25% winning percentage against my big brother rival school. I get it. So I've allowed it, right? That's fine. I've been talking all year about them. So I'll take it on the chin. I earned it. I deserve it. That's fine. But where I had to draw the line with you morons is all this talk about Vanderbilt belongs in the college football playoff. I've been trying to tell you people since Sunday morning that's not going to happen. Everybody's making the case. Clark Lea's on there whining and crying. It reminded me of when Nick Saban was on there politicking a few years ago about why Alabama deserved to be in. I can accept that a little bit more from Coach Saban and Alabama, their history in postseason play. But to me, it's a little comical to see Clark Lea on there and the president and the athletic director and all these other people whining and crying, making the argument as to why Vanderbilt should be in. And then all the smart people pouring out all these stats about their offense and how they beat this team and that team and blah, 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 and yada, yada, yada. Well, here's the thing, Vandy. You went 10-2. Congrats. Probably one of the most epic seasons in the history of your program. Yes, you've got a Heisman Trophy hopeful at quarterback that delivered on the majority of the crap that he's been talking since the spring. But the one thing I've got to call you out on in that is the line that was said on the podcast with Bussing with the Boys back in the summer about how the standard at Vanderbilt is winning championships. You're not going to be able to deliver on that. And with the rankings that finally, I say finally, we knew they were coming out last night, right? But it felt like an eternity from Saturday evening to Tuesday night. The rankings come out, and Vanderbilt basically was eliminated from any playoff conversation. In fact, Vanderbilt, you were never in the playoff conversation. Now, I know in your nerdy little minds, you felt like that, well, 10-2, that should get us in, right? Because all these other teams, blah, blah, blah. Well, here's the thing, dog. You only have one ranked win. You have one win against a ranked opponent. So all that, but they were ranked when we played them, yeah, that's not how it works. And that's great for all these offensive numbers that you guys put up and poured out and played your starters all the way through and let that little midget rack up and pad his stats, which is fine. I mean, you'll probably never have another legitimate hope for a Heisman Trophy ever again. So I get it. I'm not knocking you for wanting that for your players, your team, your school, whatever. I get it. I'm a fan first and foremost, above anything else. I'm a fan, so I understand it. I got to pull this up because I had to tweet this out. So bear with me a moment. But for all that wonderful offensive production that y'all put up out there, here's the drawback to that. And bear with me. Oh yeah, I even got the Barstool admin for Vandy yapping at me. So feel good about that. I apologize. I thought I had this pulled up already, and I realized I didn't. I had to message Josh. Oh, by the way, as you can see, I'm flying solo tonight. Josh, unfortunately, could not join us. He's, we'll just say, under the weather and just wasn't feeling up to coming on tonight. So I have asked him to send his plays over, and I'm sure he will do so shortly. And I'll go through those as I go through mine. We'll kind of see where we stand and go from there. Man, I'm having trouble finding it. No, here we go. Here we go. All right, so all these numbers for Vandy's offense, and I'll just read a few of them to you. Number one in offensive efficiency. I'm a numbers guy. If you watch me, listen to me at any time throughout the course of my short podcast tenure, which goes back to July, by the way, and I'll be recapping some of that for NFL win totals here shortly because I've had a bunch of those come in. But anyway, that's not why we're here. Shameless plug. I couldn't help it. I'm a big numbers guy, but let me tell y'all something. You are digging deep with some of these numbers, okay? But I'll let you have your time. Number one in offensive efficiency. Number one in yards per play. Number one in down series success rate. Number three in points per possession. That's a good one. Number three in third down efficiency. We know that's important. Number three in big play percentage, which is a 12 or more yard run or a 15 or more yard pass. They were number three. Number three in offensive control rating. Number three in quality drive percentage. Number three in touchdown drive percentage. Number 8 scoring offense. Tennessee was number 7. 10th in first down efficiency and 11th in total yards per game. That's fantastic. Congratulations. When's the parade? When are you going to hang the banner? Because none of that shit's getting you in the playoffs. You want to know why? Here's why. And I posted this. Feel free to go look it up. 54th in total defense. 120th in passing yards allowed. 52nd in red zone defense. 90th in pass efficiency defense. 102nd in third down conversion defense. Also first in quarterback sibling arrests. Avery Johnson's not happy. So there you go. Your defense, even though have played well at times, overall, statistically, collectively, hasn't been good. And I'll reiterate, you only have one win against a ranked team. That's not going to cut it. You're not getting in with that resume. So I'm glad the committee specifically named you as eliminated from playoff contention because honestly, Peabody, you never were in contention to begin with. You were never part of that conversation. So enjoy whatever little bowl game you get to go play in. Enjoy your win over Big Brother. Enjoy your 10-win season. Hey, I'm just down here in Huntsville. I'm only like 2 hours away. So whenever y'all going to have the parade and the banner hanging ceremony, let me know. I'll be glad to come up there and watch. I can't tell you why I'm smiling, but my sweet little wifey just brought me a gift. So thank you. Um, anyway, so I had to get that rant out because sorry, y'all, I'm gonna get the last laugh on you. You can enjoy watching the playoffs with the rest of us. All right, so now that I've got that off my chest, and I'm sure there's all kinds of Vanderbilt people that are probably going to watch my podcast. I'll direct a few of them here. So last week, kind of, I personally in official plays went 11-12, which is not great. It's kind of the collectively. Well, Josh went 8-8, so collectively we went 19-20, so just a tad under 50%. But one of the big reasons that it was profitable week, even though didn't have as many wins as certainly I would have hoped, was that North Texas Temple game, which I pounded everything in that game. The spread of North Texas -20, North Texas -10.5 in the first half, and over 33.5 in the first half. Well, I put 5 units on North Texas to cover that 20. And then 2 units each on the first half spread and first half total. So that ended up being a huge boost to what would have probably been at best a break even week. There were a couple just horrible, like Utah, Kansas. It was -11. Utah won by 10. Also had Houston Baylor over 59. There was 55 points scored. So there were a handful of just bad beats that it happens. And I mean, that's why we call it gambling, right? Because otherwise everybody would do it and we wouldn't have casinos in Vegas. So, so moving on to this week, week 15, conference championship week. And I'm going to try to cover every one of these games. I may not necessarily have an official play in them, but I can at least speak to them, give you some numbers, some stats, and maybe help you figure out what you want to do with it. I am going to keep an eye peeled here on, oh, yeah, Josh is delivered. So I will go over his plays as I go over mine. We'll see where we're aligned and go from there. I'm also going to throw out some NFL plays since it's kind of a light slate this week. Talk about that a little bit and then kind of touch on what I think might happen as far as the CFP and the Heisman thing goes. I know I teased that a little bit when I posted about the show tonight, but not super in-depth on it because I think a lot of it is going to unfold pretty much by itself. And we'll get to that in a minute. But I'm going to start with the Sun Belt Conference Championship game. This is on Friday. And James Madison is taking on Troy. James Madison is on the doorstep of getting in this playoff. We could have 2 group of 5 teams get in this playoff. So with that said, James Madison, they need to win this game big. I mean, they need to absolutely destroy Troy in this game. It will be a home game for James Madison. It's going to be 30 degrees at kickoff, and it's only going to get colder as the game goes on. So Troy, and many of you know, and if you don't, they play just south of Montgomery, Alabama. Very warm. most of their season. And, there's coach even kind of joked that, we don't even have cold weather gear. Well, of course they have cold weather gear, but what they don't have is a lot of experience playing in cold weather. So this isn't going to bother James Madison at all. And I feel like the Dukes are going to try to score every time they touch the football. Like it's going to be all gas, no breaks, try to create turnovers, defense, special team scores. Excuse me. So I think it's going to be hammered down. 23 points is a lot of points, but I think that's what James Madison is going to have to do to get into this playoff. And I think that's exactly what they're going to do. I think they win this game by multiple scores. I don't normally like spreads this big, but I think this is everything is on the table for James Madison with this game. So give me the Dukes minus 23 over Troy. Sorry, Josh isn't here to fill in the dead spot. Y'all just have to bear with me here. Looking over. Nope, Josh didn't have anything here. So next game we'll go to is going to be the Conference USA championship game that features Kennesaw State and Jacksonville State. I like the over in this game. The total set at 59.5. It's a tight line. It's only 2.5. At least it was the last I checked it. So let's verify what that looks like. It is still 2.5, and it's still 59.5. So I kind of like the over in this one. I want to say Kennesaw State wins this game, but Jacksonville State's won 11 straight games at home. They are 5-0 at home this year, and that also includes a win over this Kennesaw State team. Cam Cook is the leading rusher in FBS, the whole country. Cam Cook. He's had 10 100-yard games this year. That's also the most in the nation. And he put up 132 yards and a touchdown against Kennesaw State earlier in the year. So I kind of think this is probably a Jacksonville State win. But I'm not confident either way in this game. I do like the total going over the 59.5. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this one. But the line's just too tight for me to really take a side. I may end up dropping a little bit on the money line with Jack State, or maybe putting this in a teaser or something. But I'm just not confident enough in my read as to what's going to happen. But history and numbers point Jacksonville State in this game. Let's go to the American, where we have North Texas and Tulane going to tangle. Now, I've been riding this North Texas team all year. Memphis over first half, and North Texas covers and totals, overs, have put a lot of food on my table. We'll put it that way. So North Texas offensively has been on an absolute tear. This team has scored 31 or more in every game they've played this year. They scored 52 or more in their last 3 games. And this team has scored 45 or more points in 4 road games this year. That is the most in college football. So you can play this game on the moon. North Texas is going to score points. It just doesn't matter where they play. Tulane's kind of been a little turnover prone lately. They turned it over 3 times last week. And quite honestly, I think they're going to have a tough time matching scores with this North Texas offense. North Texas is also number one in first half scoring. So they jump on the gas early and they don't pump brakes. And the other stat that kind of jumped out at me in this game is Tulane is 119th in the nation in pass yards allowed. There's only 136 FBS teams. They're 119th. That's not a very good stat to have to come to the table with when you're facing Drew Mestamaker. So Josh and I both love North Texas with, -2, -2.5, whatever you've got it at. I don't think it matters. I think North Texas hammer down absolutely puts it on Tulane. And keep in mind, both these coaches are gone for these teams. I don't know if either of them are coaching in this game, but honestly, for my purpose, it doesn't matter. This North Texas offense is just an absolute machine. So give me the mean green over the green wave in the AAC championship. Next, let's go to the Mountain West, where we've got UNLV and Boise. I don't have an official play in this yet, but I've got a really strong lean on it. I kind of like Boise, but the line is kind of throwing me. They played earlier in the year as well. There was 87 points scored in that game. Boise won that game 56-31. So we know Boise's offense can roll. We've seen UNLV kind of be up and down. We've seen them light it up. We've seen them struggle. But with this line being so short, and let me see what it is officially here. Latest and greatest. I use FanDuel 4.5, which is a ratty line to me to begin with. I think I saw it 5.5 as well. I'm staying away from the side altogether. I like the over here. Two reasons. One, based on what we saw the last time they played. And also because of that line. For Boise to beat UNLV by 25 points in the first meeting, and then this line to only be 4.5, 5.5 points. That tells me that Vegas thinks that UNLV is going to score some points in this game because they're not going to slow Boise's offense down. So for them to stay within a touchdown means that UNLV is going to have to score. So I'm just going to go with the over 59, and I know that seems like a lot of points for a conference championship, but again, they scored 87 points the last time they played. So I don't see it being a lot different. I don't think suddenly both of these teams are going to play elite defense and slow the other down. So over on this is my lean. Probably will get to get a ticket in on this. It'll definitely go in a teaser because I feel like there's probably going to be some good value there, dropping that down into the low 50s. All right, next we'll go to the Big 12, where we've got Texas Tech taking on BYU. And, man, I'll tell you, I'm going to be honest. This whole Penn State coaching search, right, it's eerily familiar to what us Tennessee fans have gone through in the past. That seems like everybody is either turning them down, or as soon as they catch wind, their school catches wind that they're a candidate, they get a boatload of money thrown at them. And that's exactly what happened with Kalani Sitake. Man, I did not realize that the Mormon church and the owner, I guess, of Crumble Cookie and some various other entities were so fond of Kalani to throw a bag at him big enough to keep him from leaving to go to state college. But BYU's got their guy, and he clearly is a great fit there. I did not understand Penn State even considering him as a candidate till I found out that apparently there is a relationship there between Satake and the athletic director, I believe, at Penn State, but it's purely like a personal thing. It's not like professional or anything like that. I mean, he just wasn't a good fit for Penn State. He didn't have any ties to Pennsylvania. He doesn't have any strong recruiting presence on the East Coast. He's a West Coast guy. So it didn't make sense to me to begin with. Christopher Gabriel and I talked about this at length offline. And, yeah, he agreed, didn't think that was, and said he wasn't getting the job. And I trust Mr. Gabriel's gut feeling over most people's facts. So anyway, enough said about that. Let's look at Texas Tech and BYU. So these two played just about a month ago, and Texas Tech absolutely dominated BYU in that game. Texas Tech won 29-7, and that score is even a little misleading because BYU didn't even score till late in that game. So absolute dominance by Texas Tech. And I'll just be honest, I don't see it turning out any different this time. I think Texas Tech's defense is very elite. I think they will control the line of scrimmage against BYU's offense, and they will dictate the pace of this game. So once again, we've got a double-digit spread of 12.5 points. I don't think it matters. I think much like James Madison, I think Texas Tech got a little something they want to prove, and I think they are going to absolutely unload the cannons on BYU in this game. So give me Texas Tech. Josh is also in agreement with me. Texas Tech minus 12.5 against the Fighting Mormons. Let's see. Next up on my agenda is the Miami, Ohio, and Western Michigan game. It's the battle for the MAC championship. I love the MAC. When they started playing midweek games several years ago, man, I thought that was just the coolest thing ever. And kind of got interested in it a little bit because, hey, that's something else I can throw money at and have a, kind of an interest in. So I sort of got acquainted with some of these teams and programs. And so, first glance, Miami, Ohio, Western Michigan's got a really good defense. They can run the ball. I thought Western Michigan would easily be the play. But I thought it would be closer to a touchdown than a field goal. Well, this line came out at 2.5. Caused me to pause for a moment. So kind of makes me think that Vegas doesn't really know what's going to happen in this game. So I don't have an official play. I don't recommend a play. I guess if I had a lean, I would lean Western Michigan because I feel like their defense is probably going to be what they lean on, defense running the football. But I probably won't mess with that spread. If I do anything with this game, it will be a light play on probably Western Michigan money line. I just don't know. That spread just concerns me, and Miami has actually played pretty well over the last 4 or 5 weeks. So don't have a great feel for this one. Don't really have any stats that stand out to me that tell me it's going to go one way or the other. So it's going to be probably a stay away for me on the MAC. Let me check to see if Josh had a play. Nope, he's like me. Screw the MAC. Nobody cares about that. Other than people in Miami of Ohio and Western Michigan. All right. So I'm going to save the SEC for last just because it's our conference. Even though I know that's a 4 o'clock kickoff, I think, East time. But we'll skip on over to the ACC. That's got Duke and Virginia. Virginia's favored by 3.5 points at this game. And this is the dumbest conference matchup I have ever seen in my life. Duke has 5 losses. Like, why in the hell is Duke even in this game? I don't understand it. So my official take on this game is nobody gives a shit because we don't. Neither of these two teams are the best teams from the ACC. Like, they have the goofiest tiebreaker I've ever heard of. I can't believe that they are in good conscience putting this game on television. So I don't care what happens in this game. I have no play. I have no opinion. Couldn't care less. So whatever happens, happens. And I know it's going to have some playoff implication if Duke were to win this game. But we'll let that sort itself out. I can't imagine Duke being in the playoff, man, with 5 losses. That will be egregious. You think the Peabody people are pissed right now? Let Duke get in the playoff over them. They'll be burning pocket protectors in the west end of Nashville. Let's see. Over to the big 63 or however many teams they've got in there now. A lot of people are going to say this is the game of the week. I disagree, but anyway, it is a 1 versus 2 matchup nationally. It is a 1 versus 2 Big Ten conference standing. It's Indiana and Ohio State. Now, we've seen Indiana absolutely light up the scoreboard all season. Not as much lately, the last several weeks, or not several, last few weeks. They haven't put up as many points. Ohio State, on the other hand, where they started out with the defense not allowing much more than first downs or opponents to cross the 50, suddenly found an offense. And so what's happened is both of these quarterbacks are now in the forefront of the Heisman Trophy race, right? So 1 versus 2, Julian Sayin versus Fernando Mendoza. So what's going to happen? Well, I thought going into this, these two teams obviously were on that collision course for this to happen because they didn't play each other in the regular season, of course. Why would the Big Ten schedule their best teams to play each other? It's not their style. So I honestly thought, okay, so it took us until week probably 12, 11, 12, 13 before we started really seeing what this Heisman race was going to kind of shape up because preseason everybody was on Drew Aller, everybody was on Cade Klubnik. I heard Arch Manning talk. So, and I don't know how many people had Penn State and Clemson in the national championship game preseason too. So, you know, all that just went to hell pretty quickly. So it really looked like that when this game took place, it was going to be battle for the Big Ten, probably a battle for the number 1 seed, and probably going to decide the Heisman Trophy. And I think that still probably is the case. But I don't think it's going to be pretty. I think both of these teams are going to play this like a heavyweight fight. And nobody's going to run out there with their hair on fire. I think it's going to be played tight. I think it's going to be played close. I don't think there's going to be a lot of points. So my official play on this game is under 48, 48 and a half, wherever it is right now. Because as much as hype as, Indiana gets offensively, they've got a very good defense as well. So I think points come at a premium. I don't think either one of these teams, are willing to, be very high risk put the ball in harm's way because they've got bigger fish to fry. Let's be honest. I mean, I know, especially us old heads, conference championship, man, that was what it was all about. That's not the case anymore. Is it important? Sure. Do we as fans care about it? Absolutely. Is it good for recruiting? Of course. But that's not the prize anymore. I mean, we've got teams that don't even play in the conference championship game that are going to be competing for a national championship. That's just how it is. That's how it's going to be. And as this thing expands more and more, there's going to be more and more teams that didn't even play in their conference championship game going to be playing for national championships. So I don't necessarily believe that either one of these coaches are willing to go out there and lay it all on the line just to win a Big Ten championship. And, I mean, Ohio State can do nothing to improve where they are. The best thing Indiana can do is beat Ohio State and move up one spot. Well, a big deal. So I just don't see either one of these teams doing that much to produce a lot of points. In regard to the Heisman, I'll go ahead and touch on that since I brought it up. I really think this is Fernando Mendoza's award to lose. I think Sayan came on middle of the season, and more so because of lack of other candidates. The number one team in the country, undefeated throughout the regular season. Quarterbacks put up some decent numbers. Offenses started clicking. Naturally, I mean, it would make sense, right? That the best team in the country, their best player, arguably, their quarterback, would be in this conversation. I think Mendoza did enough early to put himself in this position. And then we've got the little feller in Nashville. Referred to him since the spring as Diego Poverty. There's a chance, I think it's slim, but there's a chance that because of the nature of how this Indiana-Ohio State game will be played, at least how I see it, neither of these quarterbacks are going to have a monster game. And if that be the case, then this will be the last time that Heisman voters see the candidates play. The last time they saw Diego Poverty play, he was whipping our ass in our own stadium. And I fear that may be what happens, is that puts him in the driver's seat for the award. But if either of these quarterbacks have a big game, multiple touchdown passes, rushing touchdowns, do anything heroic, last minute, fourth quarter comeback drive, touchdown pass to win the game, then I think the award goes to either of these two guys, either Mendoza or Sayan. Excuse me. I don't have any place on the Heisman. It's a BS award to me. It's been a joke since, I guess, really 1997. Let's just be honest. That's when the nonsense started. And I felt like even Travis Hunter last year was, not that he wasn't a great player, played both sides of the ball. That's admirable. But you can't tell me that he was the best player in college football last year. So it's whoever ESPN decides is they want to back is who's going to win the award anyway. But I think either of these quarterbacks show out, it's theirs. If they struggle or this is a low-scoring game, which I think is going to be, and not a big stat line from either one of them, then I'm afraid the third option is going to come to fruition. So, and Josh likes over 47.5 and Indiana to cover the 4 points. So we are at odds on that one, Josh. I hate when we do that. Man, you and Luce were just kicking my tail throughout the regular season for the most part when we were opposite sides on something. But I've come up the last few weeks, so not wishing you any ill will, my friend. But I'm right on this one too. All right, so that should bring us to. Oh, Josh also likes Duke plus 3.5 in that god awful ACC championship game. So there's a play for you. All right, so that brings us to the SEC championship game. Oh, have we seen this movie before? Here we've got Georgia and Alabama once again meeting up in hot Atlanta. Georgia is a 2.5 point favorite. The total is set, 47.5, and it's basically a coin flip. Slight juice to Georgia, slight juice to the over. And I could easily see this game going over if Georgia's defense plays the way it's played the majority of the season. I think both these teams will be able to put up some points, but that's not my play. Do y'all remember? I don't know if it was the 21st night of September, but it was in September. Georgia was a 2.5 point favorite against Alabama in Athens. This game, Georgia is favored 2.5 points. The game's in Atlanta. I remember that game too. And I remember Alabama going to Athens because Georgia has whined and cried 7-8 years now that they didn't get Bama at home. Bama won't play them at home. We can't play Bama at home. If we played Bama at home, it'd be different. It wasn't different. Kirby is 1-7 against Alabama. He is 0-2 against Kalen DeBoer. Alabama is 8-0 in that building. Alabama has no problem traveling from all parts of this godforsaken state and traveling to Atlanta to see their Crimson Tide put another beat down on the Dogs. History says wrong team is favored in this game. So I'm not going to sit here and guarantee you an Alabama win because it took Kalen DeBoer going for it on 4th and 3 deep in Auburn's territory to get out of the Iron Bowl with a win. And a lot of people are saying, oh, man, Kalen DeBoer, man, that guy's got a set of nuts on him. No, that's not why. He called that because he knew he had to win that game. And he didn't trust his team enough to keep Auburn from marching the field, which they did till they turned the ball over, and kicking a field goal and tying that game. And he did not want to go to overtime. So it wasn't a call of cojones. It was a call of desperation. Because they lose that game, they're out. That game is always crazy. And it's even crazier when it's at Jordan-Hare. So I don't necessarily believe that we saw Alabama's best game against Auburn. I think they survived, and that's what you have to do in rivalry games. So all that said, I am buying up half a point, and I'm taking +3 with Alabama. I will probably sprinkle a little bit of I don't really drink Starbucks. Hate Starbucks. I really don't drink coffee that much. Pizzas are getting kind of expensive. I'll probably drop some king size, super size Reese's cup. You know, the big one that's got like 6 peanut butter cups in it. Those are like $4 or $5, depending on where you get it. Probably something like that. No more than $10 on the Bama money line, just to basically say that I did. There's no reason for me to back Georgia in this game, period. Bama absolutely owns them. Kirby can't beat DeBoer. Bama apparently can't lose in that stadium. So I've got to side with history. And until Georgia proves otherwise, excuse me, until Georgia proves otherwise, there's no reason for anybody to bet them. Bama just absolutely owns Georgia in that stadium. Josh, of course, is going to disagree with me. He's taking Georgia minus the 2.5, and he likes over 47.5. I do think the over's in play here. I think both these teams will score. I'm not convinced that Georgia, unless Georgia has just been absolutely fleecing us all year, and they're going to come out and play Kirby level elite defense in this game. If they've been saving it all year for the postseason, then Kirby, good on you, man. You fooled everybody, and you played with fire. I just don't think that's the case. I think what you see is what you get. It's just not that good this year. It's very young, and kind of like other teams, they've kind of grown up as the season's gone along, but this is still not an elite Georgia defense. And Alabama is going to be without Jam Miller, but I forget the kid's name, but the dude they got backing him up, good Lord, he is a load. He's cut from that Najee Harris, Derrick Henry mold, man. He's like 245 pounds. So I don't necessarily see Bama missing a beat on offense without Miller. It's just a matter of, are they going to be able to create the turnover, make the big play, special teams, whatever, to be able to put Georgia away. So give me the Tide. Hate it, but this is money, not hopes and dreams. All right, so I think that covers us on the college slate, since short slate there, and I've been actually doing really well. I don't put a lot of NFL plays out because I just don't really have a show dedicated to NFL. I had one scheduled, and just scheduling for me just didn't work out, unfortunately. So hopefully with college wrapping up, I'll be able to put a little bit more time into the NFL earlier, and maybe replace some of the college stuff with some NFL stuff. But anyway, NFL Week 14, some of these division races are starting to heat up, and got some actually kind of surprises. Here we are sitting with the Chiefs flirting with not making the playoffs. We've got Philly that can't seem to figure out who they are, and we've got the Patriots, who everybody thought was going to be dead in the water, in first place in the AFC East, a division that the Buffalo Bills have absolutely owned for the last, since Tom Brady retired, years. So a lot of cool stuff coming from the NFL. Is going to be some must-see TV. But we're going to start with tomorrow night's game. is going to have Dallas and Detroit. And don't look now, Dallas has got a little bit of a defense. That trade that they made for Quinnen Williams with the Jets has been a huge boost to their defensive line, especially their run game. And Dallas has covered 8 of the last 10 games as an underdog. So Detroit's shown some chinks in the armor. I was all over Green Bay going into the Thanksgiving game with Detroit because it's just a bad matchup. That defense, versus that offense where the majority of their, offense is predicated around the run game, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown, their top receiver, goes down early. Detroit's got some issues. Also on the defensive side of the ball, they've got a starting corner out. So they go from their bitter division rival to the number one offense in the NFL. Give me the Cowboys +3 against Detroit tomorrow night. And also I'll take over 53. I think this is going to be fireworks. And I think Dallas is bringing a big match. So I don't hate a team anymore professionally outside of the Red Sox as I do the Cowboys. So if I'm betting on them, you better believe I really believe it. Because I'm just not a fan at all. So moving on to Sunday, I don't know why I'm doing this. I think part of it is because I bet them to win or go over 5.5 wins preseason, and I'm just trying to will it into fruition. But I'm taking the Jets +3 over the Dolphins. I don't advise anybody to do that. They finally made a quarterback change. Well, let me say that differently. They finally got a quarterback into the starting lineup. Because as hopeful as we've all been for Justin Fields to figure it out, it's just not happening. So finally have gone with Tyrod Taylor, and the offense has suddenly opened up. It's been a long time since week 1 against the Steelers when the Jets put up 34 points. They may not have put up 34 points combined the rest of the way. So they finally got the offense kind of cooking. Breece Hall is still outstanding dual threat running back. And the defense has actually played noticeably better over the past couple games. I'm not crazy about the Dolphins. This is going to be in MetLife. We know the Dolphins historically have not played well in cold weather, although they did play in the snow against Buffalo and a couple years ago in the playoffs and took the Bills to the wire. So it's not unprecedented for the Dolphins to show up, but I'm not crazy about this offense, especially without Tyreek Hill. It's going to be a whole lot of Devon Achane in this game, and the Jets have shown a little bit of life in stopping the run. So more of a crapshoot, throw the dice kind of thing. I do like under 40.5. I think weather may play a part in keeping that number down. So I feel a lot better about the under than I do taking the Jets +3, but I am taking the Jets +3. So transparency right here. Next, we've got Seattle playing Atlanta. Speaking of the Jets, Atlanta just lost to the Jets. Atlanta's 1-6 in their last 7. They've got Kirk Cousins playing quarterback now because Michael Penix's experiment didn't go very well. And this Seattle team is an absolute machine. Sam Darnold was upgraded today from questionable to healthy, so there's going to be a healthy Sam Darnold. Jackson Smith-Njigba is some kind of alien. The dude is absolutely uncoverable. And they've got a two-headed running back monster in Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. There's no chance for Atlanta in this game. Give me Seattle -7, and they probably win this game by 2 touchdowns or more. Next game I'm going to look at is Jacksonville. They are playing at Indianapolis. I didn't share this on here, but in the water cooler talk at work, we got, of course, a fantasy football league going there, and it's pretty competitive. And I try not to say too much of those guys because I don't want to give them any advantage. But I did spill the beans and say that the Colts are going to start sliding. They're going to be on a decline. And then Daniel Jones goes and gets hurt. He's playing through it, but not the same threat. He's not much of a threat to run. This Jacksonville defense is really good. They're probably better than what you expect or think, unless you're a Jaguars fan. You probably haven't noticed. This defense is really good. I think they're 7th in the NFL in total defense. And they are a matchup problem for the Colts. So it's a short line. I think it's 1.5 or 2. I'm just taking Jacksonville on the money line. I think they win this game outright. I think their defense is the difference, and this is the start of Indy's slide. And don't look now, but the Houston Texans, the Houston Texans are kind of warming up, and Jacksonville's right there as well with the Colts at 8-4. So give me the Jags. I had them picked to win this division in the preseason. So hold on to your butts if you've got a Jags ticket. Next game is going to be Tampa and New Orleans. New Orleans has to go to Tampa Bay in this one. I do not trust this offense for anything. I especially don't trust this offense without Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara has been ruled out for this game. Tampa Bay still got some issues. Bucky Irving just came back. I won't say he's rusty, but had a pretty good first game back. But New Orleans has a not terribly forgiving run defense. They can bow up a little bit against the run. But Tampa's banged up as well. They've had injuries on the offensive line. The wide receiver room is just taking turns being hurt. So I like the under in this game, set right now at 42.5. And I would probably play this all the way down to under 40.5. I don't see a lot of points in this one at all. I don't think Tampa's in a position to be able to run up the score, and I don't think New Orleans is in a position to score. Tampa can be beat in a passing game, but Tyler Shug's not the quarterback to do that. Tampa's run defense, their front seven is pretty good. I don't see New Orleans having much success at all. So under 42.5 is the play for me. Next game is going to be the Sunday night game. That features the Houston Texans taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a must-win game for Kansas City. Every game from here on out is a must-win game for Kansas City because they are on playoff life support right now. If you followed or listened to my preseason NFL AFC West breakdown, I mentioned that Kansas City was the beneficiary last year of, I can't remember if it was 9 or if it was 11. Anyway, a lot of games last year decided by one score. And I said they're not going to be on the favorable side of that many one-score games this season. That's been the case. they have not looked like the same Kansas City team. We thought initially it was because, well, Rashee Rice is suspended and Hollywood Brown's hurt, and Pacheco's still coming back, recovering from that horrific injury he had. Kareem Hunt's getting old. Travis Kelce's getting old. He's focused on podcasts and Taylor Swift and whatever other nonsense that he's got going on. So then these pieces started coming back, right? Rashee Rice came back after his suspension, and then Pacheco kind of got dinged up again, came back. It just hadn't translated. So they're fighting for their playoff lives right now. Houston looked like they were dead in the water. C.J. Stroud looked like he had just absolutely forgotten how to play football. And the DeMeco Ryans defense that everybody expected to be locked down just wasn't. Well, now they've woken up. And this defense is absolutely playing on fire. So I think this is the final nail in the Chiefs' playoff coffin. I'm taking the Texans plus 3.5. I like the under 42.5. I don't think there's going to be enough Mahomes magic in this one. I want to take the Texans just flat outright on the money line. Probably will. But definitely feel the safe play here. The Texans plus 3.5. And I do like that under 42.5. Sunday night games tend to be sloppy anyway, and the Texans can definitely muck this up. Chiefs defense is really good too, so I think that's kind of going to be the nature of this game. If they field goal decides it, that way that bet would come home. And finally, for Monday night, we've got the Chargers hosting the Eagles. The Chargers have the 7th best defense in the NFL. And they're welcoming in a Philadelphia Eagles team that right now I don't think they even know who they are. I don't think they know what they want to do. I think their defense has failed them, I guess is the best way to put it. And they got to travel across country, play on the West Coast on Monday night against a really good defense and I know Herbert had surgery. I heard as of just, say an hour and a half ago that he is planning to play. Obviously, him not being in the lineup would be concerning. But I think this defense is good enough. They've got a load of weapons on offense. Still have not heard if Omarion Hampton is going to return. I don't think that matters because Kamani Vidal has proven to be more than capable of carrying that RB1 role. And we just saw what the Bears did to this Eagles defense last week. Holy crap. DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai both went over the 100-yard mark. They both went over the 120-yard mark against this defense. So, and Phillies, they're in a tailspin. And I'm not writing them off. I feel like that they still have time to kind of get this right. But and their schedule's fairly easy. The rest of the way out, they'll play the Commanders twice. They'll play the Raiders. I forget who else they play. The Chargers, Commanders twice, the Raiders, or somebody else in there. I don't know. But it's not a brutal schedule. But I don't know if they survive this game. I like the Chargers plus 3. Excuse me. I'm also playing the Chargers money line. I think the Chargers win this game outright. It's just a bad situation all the way around for Philly. This game was in Philly. I would probably favor the Eagles, but laying 3 on the road traveling cross country, coming off a loss, that's not a good recipe for me. So I like the Chargers and the points. Give me Chargers on the money line. Let me double check, make sure there wasn't anything else from Josh on his plays. Nope, that was it. And that is everything from me as well. So before I wrap it up, though, I would like to say thank you to everyone. This venture started as, I won't say a joke, but it kind of started as more of a hobby that I'm going to just play with at the encouraging of my wife and my two boys. They actually are the ones that bought me this neat little podcasting setup for Father's Day last year. And it pretty much sat in the box for almost a year. And they harassed me long enough that I finally broke it out, learned how to use it, started doing some recordings and seeing how it went. And it's still small. I mean, I'm not out here with, thousands of people watching, and that's okay. I appreciate those of you that do. I've got to meet through Twitter, of course, not personally meet, but been introduced to a lot of really nice people, cool people, fellow grinders in the sports betting world that understand that you're not going to get every pick right. So for that, I do appreciate. I did at an earlier time give out plays, and you could give 10 winners, but that one loser is the one that everybody jumps on you and beats you up over. And man, I'm too old, and I ain't got time for that shit. So I just stopped, and I would just post my tickets that cashed, and people were like, "Oh man, won't you tell me your plays?" No, not gonna do it. But this platform kind of gives me a different way to go about it, and so I appreciate the support that you guys have given to me, to Josh, to Luce. Ferris is involved part-time. He does a lot of graphics and stuff for me. So appreciate and love him for that as well. But really appreciate you guys for tuning in, for commenting, asking me what I think about this, what I think about that, sharing your plays with me, because I've had people send me stuff that I wasn't necessarily focused in on and found some good value. So I just appreciate everybody that has interacted, contributed, supported in whatever manner. It really means a lot. Hopefully we'll continue to build this and grow this. As the year goes on, certainly, football is probably it's my passion. I'm actually better betting basketball than I am football. I just can't commit fully to basketball until we get football season wrapped up. So it'll probably be get us through the bowl season, get us through the CFP, the NFL playoffs, which will probably get us to conference play in college ball. NBA is too volatile. Do a lot of player props in NBA. I rarely bet a side or total. Just too volatile. You just, team that have the entire lineup out and you think they're going to get ran out of the gym and they win by 20. So I can't get into that. But I do like the props. So if you like player props, then I may have something for you a little later on as well. So, but again, thank you so much. I appreciate everybody. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Look forward to the rest of the football season, the holiday season, and we will be back with you in some form or fashion next week. So for Josh, for Luce, everybody that has anything to do with this, thank you. Hope you all have a great night, and we'll see you next time.